First off, I just want to ask if you want to introduce yourself to the audience and talk talk about the name of your film and just a little bit about the ideas that went in creating it.
Yeah, hi. So my name is Wynter. I am a filmmaker based in Atlanta. Um, Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for having Silhouette, which is our project that was accepted into the festival. We got the lovely Zende Phipps, who was actually a Miss Universe. She won Miss Jamaica.
Nice.
Yep. Ideally, it's a story about a woman who's struggled and had, been battered most of her life, lost her kids, and is telling the story and, has a pimp that is trying to control her and her redeeming, how she redeems herself at the end.
Hmm.
How she breaks away from, all the terrible decisions and lifestyles that has followed her entire life.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome, man. Um, Now another question I was wondering. So within the film, one thing that really stuck out to me was the use of cinematography and how that kind of helped in to me at least how it kind of helped make the motives of the characters not only more clear but also make the story more clear because you could feel those times where there were tension and times where it was trying to build rapport with people. So just talk to me about the process that went into the cinematography, maybe ideas that came with how to shoot some scenes or what you were ultimately aiming for.
Yeah, so I was a cinematographer on this. Um,
Awesome.
yeah,
Congratulations, man. You did awesome.
thank you. It was a great process. The visuals, because ideally, the idea was New Orleans, and like funny enough, like I went to New Orleans a couple months after we shot this, but like I have this idea of, New Orleans all my life. You have Bourbon Street, but then you have the other
Hmm.
side of New Orleans that we learned in the 90s and 2000s with Cash Money. So so we shot it in yeah, you get what I'm
Yeah.
talking with Cash Money and No Limits. So and all the hood films they made back then.
Hmm.
In the 90s and early 2000s. And it's just funny enough, like there's a lot of parts of Jamaica that kind of looks like that, because interesting fact about Jamaica is that although we're a Caribbean English speaking country colonized by the English, we were named by the Spanish and colonized by the French also. So you have those influences in our language, in the architecture, in the food. So it was interesting as a producer. I flew home and we worked on it, and I found some places that looked like um Jamaica. So I looked like that. I think like looked like New Orleans. Um, Very contrasty colors, use of great locations. That's my favorite thing about shooting and
Hmm.
filming in Jamaica is that you get such rich textures in the locations. Because you have those still have a lot of those sodium vapor lights. You still have stuff that you're not gonna get here, just like rough and tumble neighborhoods, chickens walking across the roads, stray dogs walking across the road. And then so we use those early hood films that I grew up on, and we use those as context, as a reference, and used lots of colors,
Hmm.
and it was just being very intentional about camera movements. Like one of my favorite shots, like we had an actual bonfire, but then we also had the lights that created that bonfire look,
Hmm.
because I try to shoot as realistic as possible. Everything that you see, I want to recreate that, and I will use the equipment to like amplify it. So, um, yeah, Devon House where we shot the dancing scene, that is like an old plantation house. So it has that French Quarter architecture. And for me, I like to find interesting locations and just amplify it and just use it, see what are already there and make it even better.
So just talk to me a bit about the cultural influence from you that went into this film.
Right. So, J.R. Roach, he was the writer and he co-directed this with me. And we usually sit once he sends me the script, I'll read it over a couple times and we'll have like deep discussions about metaphors and what the symbolisms and just like what are the references, what the motivations of the story of the characters. And usually, Jamaica is very culturally rich. The Caribbean is culturally rich. Both of us have lived in the US. So, we look at that too. And we develop this really interesting story, and I'll pull some things up from him just to figure out like what his influences, things
Hmm.
past, and how it influences. Like, we talk about stories, people we know who have similar stories to the protagonists, books that we've read, other protagonists, that is similar to this story. And that's how we make this rich culture, rich textured story.
Amazing, amazing. Well, uh, that is bringing us towards the end. So for final question, Andre, first off, again, thank you for taking this time with us. Just if you want to tell the people how they can get in contact with you and see your work, and also if you have any upcoming projects or different things that you're working on.
Mhm. Right. So you definitely can check out Silver Silhouettes and Sweet Rind, which are both films that we did with me and J.R. Roach. You can check it out at jrsterlingfilms.vhx.tv. There you can watch both films. Sweet Rind is the first project we did. Beautiful film about slavery and its repercussions. Um,
Hmm.
and this film, you can also watch it too, Silver Silhouettes. You love it. Female lead, female driven character, eloquently shot. And this is a story about the Caribbean. If you're looking for something different, J.R. Roach always watches, writes projects which are very different. Not every something that you see every and every day. Um, Definitely check us out. I'm Andre Wynter DP at on Instagram and TikTok, and andrewinter.com is my email address. And you can check out JR Sterling on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. jrsterling.vhx.tv is where you can watch all the films.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, man, I just have to say thank you for that. It was awesome talking with you, getting a nice view from your perspective of the film. I definitely it helps me out, not as in like had a lack of understanding, but it definitely helps me out to see, where you're drawing from with these different things and seeing how the background is helping you make these different choices in the film is beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
I appreciate
Um,
it for
of
having
course. Of
at your
course.
festival.
I'm sorry.
Said thanks for having us at your festival.
Oh, of course. Of course. Thank you for being here. Unless you have any other questions for me or David, I hope you have a great rest of your day, man.
No, no questions from me. Thank you guys for having. Keep up the good work. Keep doing it. Keep plugging away. Keep pushing. Appreciate you guys.